Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Dave. Welcome to Aroy District. In today's video, I just dropped by to show you all some of my moss pole alternatives. So I'm gonna show you most of the plants that I have that climb, and they're not climbing on the moss poles you may have seen around. They're growing. Oh my God. So basically, these climbing plants are not on a traditional moss pole or a DIY moss pole. They're climbing up something different, alternatives. So why is this even a topic? I'm gonna tell you why. So these are the moss poles that I like to use. You pretty much assemble them, and then you put some moss up in there. Fair enough. This is what you get after that moss pole is assembled. The issue is any moss pole is ongoing maintenance. So if you have a full plant collection with all of these different types of moss poles, it starts to become overwhelming, I would say. And if these dry out, the plant loses a lot of hydration because the moss becomes hydrophobic in there. You have to keep that moss primed. There's a lot of technicalities to having a moss pole. No matter how you do it, you can do DIY self-watering, these put together ones you can make your own with wire. Whatever the case may be, it is ongoing maintenance. So there's a lot of benefits to a moss pole. They add extra media for the aerial roots to grow into, causing the plant to mature at a much faster rate than without a moss pole. Yeah, I'll pull you in closer so you can see what's going on with this plant, how the roots have noticed that the moss pole is behind it for support. The roots are all behind this moss pole, so it does provide extra media, and the pot does not need to be as large because you have roots taking up nutrients all throughout this moss pole. And what happens is the leaves get bigger. I am not trying to win an award for the biggest aroid leaves within the plant community. That's just not where I'm at with it. So therefore, I don't need all of my plants to have the hugest leaves possible. That's when these alternatives come into play. Let's take this Philodendron mexicanum, for example. This is a nice philodendron. It is not on a moss pole. And actually, these leaves might be quite a bit bigger if it was on a moss pole, but I feel like I don't need these leaves to be much bigger. I wanted to put it on a stake like this and just let it look good in my space. You feel me? Like, yeah, look at this. Has deep color on the underside of the leaf. The petioles have some type of coloring going on, and this stick looks a lot natural, a lot more natural than a plastic moss pole or a wired moss pole. That is just my opinion, but doesn't this look decorative? Ain't this something that you could just have chilling in the house? And I think you would enjoy the look of it. You may not get as big of leaves, but the leaves will still grow, just not as fast as one on a moss pole. And sometimes that's okay. All right, let's get into a little bit of a show and tell. I'm gonna bring all my plants out that do not have a moss pole, all of my climbing plants that is. So let me go upstairs and get them. This here is a Philodendron ruizii. Purchased this one from Ecuador. As you can see, I have this one on a coco cord pole. Now this plant, let's take a look down here. This plant definitely has rooted into this coco cord pole. Look at those roots attaching to the cocoa, and then they went down into this pot. And it actually curved around and grew up this coco cord pole. And I did no maintenance, zero maintenance. I just water the plant, or I take it outside to wash off these leaves so that, I don't get any pests and whatnot. And that's it. This is what you call a house plant right here. This philodendron can handle most of the conditions I put it in. But just a tip for a moss pole alternative, if you were to put this plant in a high humid environment, these aerial roots will come out like crazy and wrap around this pole. Probably not getting any nutrients from the pole, but apparently it doesn't need it because it grows pretty consistently and we getting big leaves like this. So this next one I have is a Philodendron hybrid. It's a cross between varicosum and serpens. I have this one on a bendable pole. This one actually has moss on it, but it's not the type of moss that you have to keep hydrated. And it's bendable. As you can see, it has a new leaf emerging. I can actually just bend this upward and attach the node to this pole if I needed to. So I'll do that, but I need two hands. I can't hold this camera and do that at the same time. But look at this. Look at this hybrid. Can you see the coloration in there? Like on the back of the leaf, we got red. And it shows through the green on top. This one can get really huge. Equigenere's Instagram channel just showed a mature size of this hybrid. And it's been fairly easy. Has the fuzzy petioles. And no roots have attached to this type of pole, but I just don't need it to. I like the look of it the way it is. Now this one is pretty cool, I say. This is the Philodendron El Choco Red. I got this one from Equigenere. This is like a repeat purchase. And as you can see, I have this one set up on a tree branch that I found outdoors. This one had a lot of character to it. It has like a lot of lichen and bits going on as far as like the tree branch. And the coloration on this stem just complements all of that really well. So as far as this plant, I purchased it with these two leaves on it. And this is the leaf that grew in my care. And look at the shape of it. It's like a butterfly or something, you know? But I thought this was cool. And y'all, El Choco Reds are being sold at Home Depot and Lowe's. So look out for that. I'm definitely gonna buy another one if I see one there, because I'd rather have one that's already acclimated, and I want like locally grown leaves. Like these leaves that traveled don't look too vibrant, as you can see. And do we have any red on the back? Let's see. Yeah, we have some red color on the back, but the front of that leaf is so detailed and velvet that, yeah, I'm happy with that. But yeah, this one I have on a tree branch. And this tree branch had the character that I wanted, and I thought it would pair with this plant in particular. Okay, so this one is actually an El Choco Red as well, but crossed with pastazanum. So they mixed the climbing plant with a crawling plant. I thought it was interesting, so I got it. As you can see, this one is on a branch that I found, and I actually whitewashed this one. So I mixed paint with water and just kind of rubbed it across this tree branch just to give it a whitewash effect. And as you can see, it curves outside of the pot. So I was thinking that maybe this plant, if it does crawl, it'll crawl up and go across. It's probably some wishful thinking, but yeah. So these leaves, the coloration on these leaves, for some reason, I don't think it is chlorosis. I think it's the velvet texture from the El Choco Red mixed with the glossy texture from the pastazanum. It makes this weird coloration and texture because it wants to be velvety, but not quite. It just has like a fabric texture to it. So that's the pastazanum crossed with El Choco Red, or vice versa. I don't think we have any red on the back of these, but we just have a little bit of like pink color in the sinus. But that's a little cool one. We'll see what happens when it gets bigger, because I got a feeling this one is definitely gonna size up. Next, we have the Heartleaf Philodendron. This is actually the variegated Heartleaf Philodendron. I don't know if you can see it, because there's a lot of paint that has kind of splattered on these leaves. You can tell from this one right here though. So let's back out and let me show you what's going on. So I got this terracotta pot and I put this very long stick in this little pot. And what I want to happen is I want this Heartleaf philodendron to grow all the way up. All the way up. And these were cuttings that I just put in here, so it has a long way to go, but as you can see, some of the cuttings are starting to grow and they're growing big immediately. I thought it'd be like small little leaves. Here's a new leaf here and a new leaf there coming out. So I'll just keep tying this to this branch, another branch I found outdoors, and just let it grow up and we'll see what happens. Like, will those little leaves get bigger? You know, I'm curious to see what happens. So it brings a lot of interest to this whole little setup because that's the fun part, just seeing how the plant manages on a moss pole alternative while growing vertically. I'm gonna take this one outside and hose it down because it has not been watered in a while. So I'm gonna show y'all how I do that. Okay, so let me quickly mention some other alternatives. Now, scrap wood you can find just about anywhere for little of nothing if you don't already have it laying around. I have this Philodendron corsianum on a piece of scrap wood. Once again, this branch I've had for a couple years. I put that Philodendron mexicanum on, and if you go online, they have all kind of different trellises. Now, they have these decorative wooden trellises, all kind of shapes and colors that you can find on Amazon and Etsy. Now, I think that these tiki lamps, you can use a vining plant and wrap it around these lamps for outdoor or even indoor use. A 2x4, these pre-cut 2x4s are only a couple bucks. You can use those. You can even use electrical wire. I have this Scindapsus strung up on an electrical wire that goes to the grow lamp above my aquarium. So go figure. So my favorite alternative right now is a natural tree branch. Now I live in Atlanta, Georgia. There's tree branches just about everywhere. This whole city is damn near a forest. So I think I found this one at a park or something like that, or in a parking lot. That's mostly where I find them. When I park somewhere and right in front of my car there's a branch that I like, I'll pick it up and put it in the car. When it comes to a large size tree branch, let me show you how I prepare it for use. So first I get some cement powder, put it in a bucket. Cement powder is very cheap. I get the little $5-6 bag. It's about 50 or 60 pounds. And just put a little bit in the bucket and then pour water in this bucket and mix it until it's like a thick soup consistency. So the cement does have a lot of gravel in it, and I just use a stick just to mix it up, and I'm gonna let this sit for about 4 or 5 minutes while I prepare a little container for the branch to go into. So this is the plastic container I'm gonna use. I line that with a plastic bag. Just put that inside whatever plastic container you can find and make sure it's flat down at the base. This is the container that you're gonna sit the bottom of the branch into, and then you want to stabilize it. You can lean it up against the wall. You could put it in between 2 tables just to make sure it stays upright, and then you fill it in with cement and wait till it dries. I'm only going to fill it halfway with cement because I don't want a huge cement block. You feel me? So this is the container with the stick inside of it empty. I'm just going to fill that halfway with cement and let it dry overnight. So once the cement dries, you should be able to take it out, take the plastic off, and then I recommend spraying the whole thing down with some type of a clear coat. They have like cheap Rust-Oleum brand type clear coats. This is orange paint, but they do have a clear, like they have a matte clear, a satin clear, whatever type of clear coat. They also have like a polyurethane if you want to go a little bit more heavy duty. You can take a brush and wipe that clear coat on the cement and the actual tree branch, and then it'll be protected from rotting and leaching out whatever. So that's how you do that. So I do feel like coco coir poles are the most straightforward alternative, because you know, you just buy them by the bunch and you don't have to do anything. But I just think that tree branches and getting some type of natural source and manipulating it and painting it, staining it or something like that, like, you know, like a wood plank or something like that, would be a better look than the coco coir. I'm not mad at the coco coir the way it looks, but it's a bit basic to me. I want to do something a little bit more artistic, so that's why I have a bunch of different alternatives. So it kind of breaks up some of the work. If some of these climbing plants are on an alternative type source of stake or pole, then it's easier to water the few moss poles that you have. I'm not gonna give up on moss poles because they're very good for propagating. I say that when you take that plant off of the moss pole, you can cut it up. Each node already has roots. With these, they just help you have a nice, you know, they help you maintain a nice collection. How about that? So there you have it. If you tired of dealing with moss poles, I just showed you a few alternatives and they work pretty well. So get into it. That's all I got for y'all. See y'all in the next video.